Hi there, and welcome to our quick tour of the Netsport School installation process. As you can see on the screen in front of us on our Windows 7 computer, we've got the Netsport School installation wizard at the beginning of the process, and we've run that from the setup file that we've downloaded. As we step through the process, you'll see the first thing it will ask us when we hit next is to agree our license agreement that's provided by 넷서포트. We click on next again, and at this point it's asking us for information for our license. Now we have two options here. By default we can select the 30-day evaluation, and that will allow us to use all of the features within the product for free for 30 days. Alternatively, if you've just purchased your copy of 넷서포트, you will have received from your supplier an email which will have all the registration details needed for your unique copy. That can be entered into the system here just by selecting register and filling in the appropriate information. Again, don't worry, because at a later date during this tour we'll show you how you can apply a license key you've purchased at any point once the product has been installed. So we'll leave it on the 30-day evaluation for now, and we'll hit next, and you'll see it's giving us a selection of options here. The first option is to install and set this computer up as if it were a student. So the student software will allow the machine to be connected to by a teacher or an IT technician and managed within the classroom. Similarly, if we'd rather the machine was set up as a teacher, we've got the tutor option, and that will install all the components that a teacher might need within the classroom. The third option is an IT technician, and that will install the tech console, allowing a technician to browse and discover all computers on the network and perform system management on them. Finally, we've got a custom option, and we'll go into the custom option just to show you what some of the different available options are. So if we say custom, in effect everything is presented to us on one screen. So had I selected the student, I've got the option to add a configurator on the student machine, as well as include that configurator on my start menu. As a tutor, I'd have the option to include again a desktop shortcut for the tutor and a choice to install the remote deployment utility. The deployment utility is a tool that we can use to push out a copy of Netsport School to other computers across the school. That of course avoids the need for us to visit each PC individually and apply the settings. We have a tech console that allows us to provide system management functionality for our technicians. We have a name and connectivity server, something a little bit more specialized. The name and connectivity server allows 넷서포트 to identify and locate students around the campus using a connectivity server. So rather than us having to browse and find them, the student machines will always be registered and their current location displayed on the connectivity server. We have a replay conversion utility. And one of the nice features in Netsport School is the ability to record and replay activity on student computers. It can also be used by a teacher outside of a lesson to record the steps they need to undertake on a certain project, perhaps creating a table and charts within a spreadsheet, and then that recording can be played back and shown to the class as part of the lesson plan. Our conversion utility allows us to take those replay files and output them after editing in a range of supported mainstream video formats. And finally, we have a test designer, and our test designer is our tool for creating tests and quizzes within the classroom. And again, because we recognise that teachers may want to prepare those tests outside of the classroom, we give you the ability to install the test designer as a standalone utility so that it can be done on any computer, irrespective of its location. For now, let's go for the full summary, and we won't bother with the connectivity server, but we'll put all the main features onto our computer, and you can see here we've also got a default installation folder, the Netsport folder, subset of which is the Netsport School subfolder. Let's say next, and it's prompting us for a room. Now at this point you may think, what's a room and what's the context of that within Netsport School? Well, by default, our mechanism for grouping students and allowing for easy connectivity within the classroom is to create virtual classrooms. In this example, it's prompting us to create a virtual classroom called Eval. The idea will be when we first run our teacher software, it will browse and automatically connect to all students that are in the matching room Eval. Similarly, All students that are installed for the evaluation will carry the same room name, so automatically that process of locating and handshaking will be undertaken for us. Down the line within your school, of course, you could apply different rooms depending on the location of all of the student computers. And again, without going off on too much of a tangent, there are 4 different connectivity methods supported within NetSupport School. One being room mode, another being the ability to browse and connect to computers from a known list of hardware, another to be browse and connect to a known list of students based on their login names, and finally the ability to simply browse and discover and then connect to your required students. Let's leave it as the default eval for now, say next, and at this point here we're simply going to hit install and let the software go away and configure itself. What you'll have noticed at this point is that actually for a standard installation and evaluation of NetSupport School, you simply really need to go next, next, next. Use the default settings, and other than specifying whether the individual machine you are installing on is a teacher or student, all the preset defaults will allow you to start a lesson and evaluate the product fully. Okay, as you can see, at the end of that process, our installation wizard has confirmed the installation is complete. So we can finish our install, and you'll see on the desktop we now have an icon for the technician console, an icon for the teacher software, and then we've got a message that just popped up there to let us know that our student software, which is sitting down here, is also running. So in this example, we've chosen to install all the components, and we can now use this machine as if it was a student, a teacher, or a technician. All the tools ready for us to go. Okay, now let's assume we've been using NetSupport School for the last month. You've enjoyed all the functionality and features available, and you've now purchased your own licensed copy. You'll have received a license file sent to you, which will have details of your licensee name, the number of computers you're licensed for, and so on. And you'll want to better add that into NetSupport School to activate your software and convert it from an eval to a permanent license. If we just take a look in our Program Manager area, pop this up, you'll see within the program file group NetSupport, we have a subfolder called NetSupport School, and we have a small application called PCI Lick. If we run PCI Lick, you'll see we're prompted, can we run it? And we're given a very small NetSupport License Manager utility. Now this utility has 3 or 4 main tabs along the top here, but for the purpose of NetSupport School, only the first tab is relevant. So once you receive your license details from your supplier, you simply need to enter your new serial number, the maximum number of clients, that's the number of students that you purchased your license for, the licensee name that you gave, and almost always the licensee name will be the name of your organization as it was provided, and an option here to generate a key for Google Chromebook clients. Google Chromebooks are the new web-only based operating system from Google, so we can create our client keys from that. And finally, the authorization key that was supplied to you will be entered here. Once you've entered those key bits of information, and it's imperative that you enter it exactly as it's supplied to you, it is case sensitive and space sensitive, clicking the generate button will create a new license file for you, and that will have your software then activated. To confirm within your software, there are lots of files in here. If we scroll back up, you'll see we have a file in here called nsm.lick, and that is your license file that contains all the information specific to your license that you've purchased. Okay, so a nice quick and easy way to get you going with your new NetSupport classroom is once you've installed your tutor, if you run the tutor for the first time, which we'll do on the screen here now, like so, you'll see we're prompted when we first install the product, do we want to push out and deploy our software to our students within the classroom or over a network. So let's choose classroom, and we'll say yes, we want to be able to do our installation for the classroom, and you'll see that we'll pop up with a nice display, which is our NetSupport School deploy utility. And by default we've got a room set as eval because we're running an evaluation copy, and we can either choose to push out and discover computers on our workgroup or network, or enter a range. So let's enter a quick IP range for as an example. Like so. Say OK, and you'll see it's discovered these computers there's one computer in the range that isn't visible, so we'll pick the other computers, add them to our list, and when we click finish, it will push out the student software automatically to all those computers and pre-configure them to room eval. Within a couple of seconds, your class will be active, your software will be deployed, and you're ready to start teaching. Perfect.